I'm a Labour supporter and have been, I'm not anti-Rachel Reeves per se.
Okay.
However, she stood at the budget and said 750,000 hospitality and retail venues will be better off. What has happened is the multiplier that the rates are calculated from the rateable value has come down. On that soundbite, she stood up in Parliament and said that rates will be coming down for 750,000 retail businesses. The reality is they've taken away the stabilisation that was put in for COVID, which for pubs under 12,000 rateable value is zero and is important to small local community businesses such as this. And they've increased rateable values. In many cases, I could show you a spreadsheet here, 35 pubs, 30 of them are all going up. Right. And in many cases, over 50 to 100% in terms of rateable value, which even with a lower multiplier, kicks out £3,000 to £6,000 a year of cost that isn't there. That also has a kick on to Sky, because Sky televise the TV sport, and they base their costs on size of rateable value. So when the contract ends, they'll come cap in hand for potentially another £200-300 a month. So not only is it £2,000 or £3,000 worth of rates costs, it's potentially £2,000 or £3,000 worth of additional costs to Sky to be able to show live sport, which is fundamental to a lot of pubs being able to be busy when on weekends when football's being televised. So that for me is why Rachel Reeves now needs to leave post, because that is a big schoolboy error. And for me, that's huge. And that is a big confidence buster for me, and that's as a Labour supporter.
Do you have any hope for Labour at the moment? Or is it just Rachel Reeves that you're just not?
I think Keir Starmer needs to make a decision in his backroom team, and she's someone that needs replacing very quickly, because it is just, she can't seem to make any headway with any decision, which is shattering confidence, which is only playing into Reform's playbook. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say on the business rates thing, which I think is probably it in a nutshell for the grassroots of pubs. It's all very well Tom Kerridge talking about lovely picture postcard stuff in much affluent areas, and fine, he's got a business to run, and I know that those businesses, because I have one or two good higher end pubs myself through the estate that I look after, but the reality, the wipeout will come at this level. In tough working class areas where the pub is vital to the community and still has a place to play. And it's costs that are driving. It's not necessarily turnover that the problem is. Yes, turnover has dropped, but it's the costs that underpin those businesses that are really the big problem at the moment. And if those costs can be relaxed, VAT, utilities, and obviously we don't need this business rates in position, then these pubs will survive. But that really is in the gift of the government.
Say like Rachel Reeves was to go, do you have anyone in mind?
I don't, because I've not seen any talent. I'm not going to lie. I've not seen it. No one has presented themselves within the Labour kind of back benches or even front benches. They could even do a reshuffle. Rachel Reeves probably has a part to play within government, but not in that role.
Right.
Probably needs to be in another ministerial role, perhaps. But this role, we need someone who can get much closer to. Labour are meant to be for working people, and they are. This whole business rate suggests that they're not looking after, working people.
The Labour have been doing for the working class people since they've started. Do you think they have been?
I'd rather keep the conversation from my quotes very much around the pub industry. That's what we're here to talk about. I think they inherited a difficult situation, and I think that's the challenge here, is that there probably isn't a lot of money to play with, and they want to make improvements, and they're looking at ways to try and do it. I genuinely think they should go for growth. And as Paul said, working people, generally, if they get a spare 20-30 quid in their pocket, will spend it. Because that's just the way they've generally been brought up, and that fuels economies, because there's generally a lot more of those people. They fuel economies, spend it in the bars, and all they want is a nice warm pub to come in, a quality pint and a nice atmosphere, and be able to do that. And if they spend, we can then reinvest back in the businesses. So that for me helps the economy. I can't talk about other industries because I'm not in it, but I understand this one. I'm pretty. It's very unusual that I would want to go and protest on Westminster, but if they don't sort this business rates out, I'll be down in London. because it's not really about just my job. It's about something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, I think it's really important, the social aspect.
Who wants to sit and look at a 55-inch plasma and have a Just Eat and look at Ant and Dec every Saturday night? That's a pretty.
Yeah.
If someone told me that's the way forward, I'd probably think, well, pretty grim. That's a pretty. I know people like Strictly Come Dancing and things like that, but ultimately you need to get out there. So. The other thing as well, people like pubs. When the sun shines, they'll come to the pub because they want to sit out in their beer garden. They want to go at the coast, they want their pub to be there at Christmas. They want the pub to be there on a bank holiday. They want the pub to be there when it's a royal occasion, and we all have a bank holiday for that. The reality is, at this time, in 18 months' time, many won't be.